As consumers, we are bombarded by it at every turn, like the Incredible Hulk being bombarded by gamma rays. But what makes some media endure, while others are banished to the forgotten black hole of obscurity, never to be heard from again? Who or what decides this? Hetero life mates Steve and Yahel want to know, and they want to know now. This is Obscurity Now. What's up, everyone? Welcome to a very special episode of Obscurity Now. My name is Steve, and with me is my co-host,
Yahel. And why is this being loud here? Sorry about the dual audio there. Oh, I somehow got blown out again.
You look okay over here.
I look very white.
You do look white.
Oh, well. I mean, I guess it is what it is.
I mean, that's what you've secretly wanted all this time, right?
Finally, I can get out of tickets.
Oh, man. You'll never let me live that down, will you?
No. But you look great, Steve. You look great. I feel like you secretly changed my webcam settings.
I just wanted to look as brainjacked as possible. But anyway, welcome everyone to Obscurity Now, the show that takes a look at nearly forgotten media, and then Yahel and I here decide if it should be remembered for all of humankind or time, or tossed into the black hole of obscurity, never to be heard from again. This is a little bit different than usual because I'm actually here in Yahel's, what do you want to call this room anyway?
I don't know. For me, maybe the powder room, since I look like powder right now.
Sean Patrick Flannery?
Sure. Is that who played powder?
Yeah.
Yeah, I look like a ghost. Very appropriate.
You know, that was directed by pretty much a convicted, well, I don't even know if I need to say
convicted criminal, almost?
Convicted of doing things with young boys. I'll just say that. Yeah, very controversial figure. Very controversial. But what's not controversial is the movie Brainjacked, which is a horror movie that was shot near in the Tampa area. Let's say that. It's actually shot in St. Pete, which is like Tampa adjacent. But before we get into that, I want to say Happy Halloween to you.
Happy Halloween to you, Steve.
Yeah. I see you're going as powder.
Yeah. White as a ghost. I'm haunting you.
I'm going as Brainjacked the entire movie. I assume that you're a big fan of Halloween?
Yeah, I enjoy Halloween, even though, we've known each other for... How long have we known each other? Like 15 years?
Yeah, something like that.
And you were like emailing me the other day, I know you're not really into Halloween.
See, I think what happened was, because I remember one time you were like, I think it was, you said you didn't like Horror Nights, and maybe I got that screwed up
Halloween
over the
Horror Nights. Yeah, it's just a pain in the ass. I like the idea of it. I like haunted houses. But Halloween Horror Nights is a lot of waiting around in line.
It is. I mean, I would say that I've kind of outgrown it, but I would never turn down like free tickets, or at least to check out a new one. Like I've been to Halloween Horror Nights now multiple times in Orlando and in Hollywood, and I don't need to go anymore until Blade is old enough, and then I'll take him. But anyway, speaking of Halloween, We've got some Halloween-themed episodes coming at you, which is why we watched Brainjacked, which is a horror movie or body horror.
Yeah.
And then coming up later next week, we're watching the Garfield Halloween special, also, which was originally titled...
Kind of body horror, I would say.
In its own way, sure.
If you're Garfield's doctor, his vet, you're like, hey man, you can't keep eating this much lasagna.
Right. Well, nothing's more horrible or terrifying than like John. He's kind of like I picture him and David Seville just like getting drunk at the bar, talking about Alvin and Garfield and how they're ruining their lives and stuff. But we'll get more into Garfield in the next episode. But for now, we've got Brainjacked here. So, and also, how can I forget, in the tradition of Halloween, it's not the first time I've ever made that mistake.
You're so California, Steve. You've changed since you moved out
Please,
there.
call me Hollywood Honeycutt from here on out. We haven't really talked about it a lot on this show, but before we started Obscurity Now, I did an audio drama podcast called Ray Can't Sleep, which is a sort of creepy story about a musician wandering around the underground of Hollywood trying to figure out why he can't sleep. And I actually premiered it last Halloween, and it's done pretty good, I'd say. But I want you to listen to it, so I've got a trailer right here. Gonna play it.
Maybe I can fix the white balance on me while that's...
Yeah, maybe. All right, let me make sure that it's here. Did I add it? Oh, shoot. I don't think I did. Well, you know what? Let's go to the feature presentation bumper, and then you can fool around with your white balance if you want.
Okay.
All right, here we go.
Welcome to your feature presentation.
Okay, we open with some guy grabbing his head and like squealing while industrial music plays in the background. Then our lead character wakes up. His name is Tristan. He has a migraine problem. He walks out. His mother is getting gangbanged by two dudes and then filmed by his stepdad. Tristan goes in to get a drink of water, and he and then the lead porn star guy comes in, makes him angry, says something about his dad killing him, Tristan's dad killing himself, so Tristan punches him in the face and then continues to beat on him. Stepdad comes, breaks it up, and kicks Tristan out onto the street.
I mean, his stepdad didn't come like orgasm. He just kicked him out on the street. He just came over and kicked him out.
Right. Thank you for adding that. And also, Tristan's mom was into it. That's important for some reason.
Yeah, it is important. She's into the lifestyle.
Yeah, she's a very promiscuous woman, which we support. Anyway, so he wanders the streets of St. Pete. He gets mugged. He almost gets run over by a car, which may or may not have been planned by the production. He goes to a park where he meets the female lead named Lainey, who looks like a girl who would be in a cult and talks like one too. She basically tells him about a youth group that helps out runaways, and so she takes him to the cult. And they all have scars in their forehead. Yes.
Looks like they got shot in the head or something, but they didn't.
Yes. So they keep referring to this gift giver. Tristan meets him, and his real name is Dr. Karras. He looks like a dumpy doctor. He's like, I can make the migraines go away. I just have to give this weird...
a TREP, which is a procedure.
Yes, this TREP. And so he brings him into the back of the room and then proceeds to pull off his glove and reveal that he has a drill for a hand. He then drills into one of the cult members, and then they feel better. Tristan is then says he's going to think about it. He goes back, sleeps under a bridge, then comes back. Then he himself gets drilled. Migraines go away. I feel like I missed something.
Tristan's very happy about this.
Right. We're also shown a black tie dinner in which the chief of police has also gotten his head drilled. And then the doctor takes two of the female cult members and shows that he also has the ability to control their minds and makes them basically have sex with these two city council members because he's a super villain and he fucking controls everything.
He pushes a button on a remote control, their eyes turn red, and he tells them seduction. And they go and seduce the councilman.
Yes. And so basically after that, that's when Tristan wakes up. He feels better. And then they go and meet all these other success stories who've had their foreheads drilled.
Right. He feels like a bank teller.
A doctor. Oh, wait, no, not a doctor. A lawyer,
Lawyer.
And a college admission person. And they're like, here, have free college. It's already paid for by Dr. Cross.
Here's a bank account with a bunch of money in it.
Yes, yes.
And this is actually where we were at. Wow, Steve, you have 2 minutes left and you pretty much covered everything.
Yay!
Up to this point.
Maybe the computer at least recorded the first part, but we'll see. Probably not.
Not once you switch to this.
Okay, well, let's try not to make any more allusions to it.
Historic Nerd said, isn't that the plot to the new Black Widow movie? I haven't watched
Oh,
it.
no,
So.
this is way better than Black Widow. Black Widow is trash. Like this guy, who hopefully we recover, or was recorded when we were talking about it earlier, Andrew Allen, he actually took...
This is the writer.
Yeah, writer and director. He took care in this film and did the best that he could with his limited budget and everything else that he had involved. But we'll get to more of that later. So yeah, basically we're treated to a pretty hilarious montage of them meeting those people that we just mentioned. That feels like a Saturday afternoon local commercials.
It's a little. It gave me a little bit of like Invasion of the Body Snatchers
yeah,
vibes.
oh, absolutely. This feels like that for
Because
sure.
you start to notice, like, man, it seems like everybody's like getting this procedure done in this town or whatever. But for the most part, though, unlike some like the Invasion of the Body Snatchers, these people like live their lives normally, and they're normally under their own control, unless the Dr. Karras like activates the thing and like control and brainjacks them. But yeah.
So yeah.
But did you notice, Steve, after, sorry to cut you off.
It's okay.
After they meet the admissions officer, like, or whatever, who's like, oh, you've been enrolled. Dr. Karras paid your tuition. Tristan then asked Lainey, the main character that's been, following him, oh, what are you studying? And she's like, she doesn't give an answer.
Right.
So she's not really enrolled there. So it kind of alludes to, okay, there's something more going on.
Sure.
Which is great, but it's never brought up again.
Yeah.
And Tristan doesn't follow up on it.
Right. Well, Tristan's having such a good
Sorry
time.
about that. That was 5 minutes. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, Tristan and Lainey black out, and they wake up in the cult center with loot by his hands. So this is the first of, I think, a couple of blackouts post TREP surgery. And I guess did they ever even really say what happened? But basically it looks like Dr. Karras hit his little remote control and made Tristan, and we can assume Lainey, go rob someone.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, because they just I guess it's supposed to be like high-end jewelry, but it's obvious that it's
But it made no sense because it's like Dr. Karras seems to have all this money.
Maybe it's a test, but the real important thing here is that he gets his knife there, which gets used later, which I appreciate it. I love a good setup and a payoff.
Yeah.
So yeah, he gets
he gets his knife, Tristan gets his knife.
Yeah, Tristan gets a pocket knife. He says, I used to have a pocket knife like that, or this was given to me by my dad or something along those lines. Yeah,
because we do see a pocket knife at the beginning of the movie when he's like having his migraine. He's like rubbing the pocket knife like this on his head, which I guess is like comforting to him because his dad gave it to him. I didn't make that connection.
The man likes his knives.
The man loves his father. It's not about the knife.
Whoa.
It's not about how sharp the edge is. It's about how tender and loving it is.
This movie's so deep. So we're treated to another montage, I believe montage number 3, the feast at the cult place. Basically all of the youth cult members are...
This plate's all like half filled.
Yeah. They're carving up the roast beast. And out of nowhere, like the lights on the table start flashing, and Tristan's like, "Oh, what's going on?"
Well, we should point out, because this got cut off in the recording. There's this is like a dining room table, like a pretty decent sized dining room table with 3 giant
like orbs
glass
of
orbs, and they light. And I think they change colors too, right?
Yeah,
different colors. So
very 70s sci-fi look. And so I guess they're tethered to this Zane guy's, like, I don't know, heat signature or something. I mean, I guess we're getting a little too technical
Have
here.
they already explained who Zane is? We should
No,
probably do
this is the first time that Zane's mentioned.
Okay.
So yeah, basically they lights start flashing, then they mention Zane, and Tristan sees the doctor's remote control for the first time, and then he blacks out again, and then he wakes up in the middle, because they don't explain Zane until like later, like even after this.
I think we should just explain the deal with Zane
Sure,
now, which
sure,
is
go for it.
basically the doctor tells all of his little cult members that they're each going to get 3 TREP procedures, and the third TREP one is like the ultimate one that'll get them to achieve their maximum potential. And we find out later that Zane is the only one who's ever survived the third TREP procedure, which gives you telepathic powers.
Right.
And apparently it makes your teeth all gnarly too.
Oh, and also
That's
makes you talk like Batman, Christian Bale Batman.
I was thinking Bane, like, because of his
a
name
little
Zane,
bit of that too. Oh,
because
no.
But
and
then later on, I was like, no, this is more like Batman.
Right. Or, I mean, also like sort of Snake Plissken, Clint Eastwood kind of.
Yeah.
That whole thing. See, I appreciated that over the top acting from him. I mean, it was, but again, like nobody else was doing it. So it was just kind of weird.
Yeah.
We've got an over the
Yeah,
top.
because we don't meet Zane till like the third act, basically.
Right. So yeah, anyway, Tristan sees the remote control. He blanks out. He wakes up outside in the middle of a fight and pulls something out of his head wound.
Yeah, he's bleeding all over from like his.
Yeah, and there's like a big, I guess, gang battle between the cult members and the Xenonites.
Yeah. And the head wound is from when he got his head drilled for his first TREP procedure.
Again, I think we're supposed to figure it out for ourselves that he got punched so hard in the head that it caused this.
Well, his wound hadn't healed yet because it's only been like a day
Oh, that's a good
two.
point. That's a good point.
So I actually thought like this was a good idea. Maybe he got into this fight too early, or because everybody else, like their head wound has like a kind of like a, I don't even know how to describe it, like a weird glossy center, which maybe that's supposed to be the end of the little like implant that he puts in. I don't know if that's on purpose or not, but
right.
He ends up finding like this like little like greenish blue yellowish cylinder. It looks like a thick piece of silicon that just kind of pops out of his head,
right.
So
or even like a big pill, basically.
Yeah. Anyways, and obviously, he figures out that this is what the doctor's been implanting in people's heads after he drills them. But the fight scene, man, like I thought it did a good job of like making you feel his disorientation.
Sure.
And I know a lot of the reason why is because no budget, right?
Right.
So they just have like, the choreography, if you stop and like really study, because I rewound it, is awful.
Yeah.
It's the shits. But on a first watch, if you don't study it, they have like a lot, everything's dark with some like splashes of red lights, and guys moving, whatever, some fast camera movements. It's actually pretty good.
Yeah, it's not bad.
And they keep cutting to him being disoriented, because he's got hit in the face. He's also disoriented just like by what the hell is this thing coming out of the forehead.
Right.
So it actually works really well.
It was a pretty intense scene, for sure. And it definitely dropped it at the right moment because, things were looking pretty good. They were looking up for our boy Tristan. And then now we've got this craziness going on. And I also put in here, there's an eyeball rip during the fight.
Oh, yeah.
That was funny.
The eyeball rip, it didn't make any sense.
No,
because,
it didn't.
normally when you see an eyeball rip, it's one of two ways, right? You, in my experience on the streets.
Puerto Rico, right?
Yes. Actually, no, Steve. I live in Tampa, St. Pete area, so where there's a shot. So
battling other brainjackers.
I didn't want to say, but this is loosely based on my life.
Whoa! You must know Zane.
Yeah. So, you either rip somebody's eye like this, straight forward, I've heard, or there's the classic, you push in and then it pops out the side.
Right.
But never have I seen, like, you...
Yeah, that was
like this.
That was a new one. One.
But he scooped it out, so who am I to argue?
Right. So let's see. Lainey takes Tristan to a bathroom, and that's where she tells Tristan about Zane, that it's a rival gang, basically, which he seemed perfectly okay with. Like, you know, if I was about to walk like into your house and I got jumped and I was like, who were those guys? Just a rival gang.
And you're bleeding.
I'd be really concerned.
Yeah.
Let's.
It's a rival gang. You're their blood enemy now. It's fine.
So I guess he blacks out again and wakes up in bed with Lainey taking care of him. And
no, he doesn't black out because he's taken out the
took out the thing.
The thing, so he can't be controlled anymore. They just end up like going somewhere. I don't remember how they get there, but some place. It might even be the safe house actually, like the regular place the cult is at, and she's just taking care of him because he's like bleeding.
Well, okay. I mean, I just thought that maybe he blacked out just due to lack of blood. I mean, not because what's his name made it happen.
No. She does help him get there, so
right.
Like she helps him walk there, so he's not totally blacked out.
Okay,
but
all right.
either way,
well, I don't even have blacked out written down here. I guess I assumed that.
Shit up, Steve.
Anyway, all right. So they're in.
You're drunk.
I wish I was.
I'm kidding.
They were in bed with. He's in bed with Lainey, who's taking care of him, and then they have sex. Big surprise. And it wasn't even.
Well, yeah, she negged him earlier. Like,
right.
Of course.
Mr. Mystery strikes again.
I just realized that the mystery discussion didn't get recorded about.
No.
The dating artist, or it's something called like the something artist was his book. I'm gonna look it up.
Okay. Yeah, and it's not even. It's actually very like sort of 80s. Not even that sleazy, but the music was pretty funny. It's another montage, basically, is what you get. So Tristan wakes up and wanders around until he sees the doc drilling one of the gang members. Then he grabs Lainey and they leave the cult. Like, this is when I started sort of questioning things. Like, I guess, because I was like, why would Lainey even like believe him if she's such a stalwart like cult member? She just sort of left with him without questioning anything. Like,
I mean, he tells her, "I trusted you, now you trust me."
Right.
And man, I was on the fence about this too because, like, that makes sense that he's like, "Hey, I trusted you trusted me," but like you said, she's a cult member. But from what we've seen, like all these people, like generally are acting under their own willpower until like the guy, Dr. Karras, uses her remote control, right?
Right.
So it makes sense, like, and she's obviously like has feelings for him.
Sure. They just proved that in the previous scene.
And she hasn't, and Tristan hasn't told her yet, hey, this is all the stuff that's really going on with Dr. Karras. So she doesn't know that like he's about to like try and get her to turn on the cult. So I think it's okay. And then once he does tell her, like, hey, Dr. Karras is controlling us with blah, 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 he's brainwashing us, she does initially like push back.
Oh yeah, because I got it right here in scene 8. Lainey doesn't believe him about the mind control. They go inside the garden, then accidentally discover oh yeah, that's I guess they're looking for evidence. This is when things like, I feel like
things got disjointed, huh?
Yeah, like this is when the film kind of starts to fall apart. And it's a little too convenient that I guess they're going to look for evidence.
Right, it's her idea to go. It's weird because he tells her we need to find someplace safe, and she's like, "Oh, the whatever house the garden is safe," and he explains why it's not. Blah blah.
So that's the name of their cult place again. We forgot it. It's called
but it's not the name of the cult. It's just
right. No, it's the name of their compound. That's what I was trying to think of earlier.
So they go back to it. She ends up saying, "Okay, you are right," which is weird how quickly she gets convinced.
Right.
But at least they like feign some effort of her like pushing back. But they go back into like some like secret office, and she goes, "I've got the code."
Right. And
why do you have the code to get into the secret vault of things you're not supposed to know?
Right. And then to make things even easier for them, like instead of just, I guess, finding a folder in the second drawer like they used to do in like 70s like detective movies or something, they accidentally hit a projector. And it explains all of Dr. Karras's plans.
It's a button that basically exposes. It's in an 80s cartoon where like the supervillain tells you their whole plan. That's what this button does.
It's the exposition button or the monologue button. Yeah, basically.
Now, I will say the graphics that they projected on the screen
were good.
Pretty well done.
Yeah,
Much better than
yeah.
I expected. This is 2009, and they have like it reminds me a little bit of when you play Thunder in Paradise, the CDI game. There's a section where you can like look at Thunder's boat. Yeah, historic nerd will know what I'm talking about, and you can look through all this like database kind of stuff. And it looks very dated because it's from 1994.
Sure.
And this is like the 2009 version of that, basically, where it's like, oh, this is what the TREP procedure does.
Right.
And this is where we learned the third one like gives you telepathic powers. This is where we learned that Zane, because there's a profile on all the people that have like gotten it. There's a profile on Tristan, profile on Lainey. We see pictures of Lainey undressed that the doctor took. Yeah. And she's like, that creep.
Yeah, but they were the least sleazy undressed photos ever.
It's just her from the back.
Yeah. She didn't want to do nudity, basically.
But she's nude earlier, like on top of one of the councilmen.
No, it was only the other girl. I'm pretty sure.
There were two of them.
There were, but they only showed the other one, Heaven. They only showed Heaven.
Okay.
Yeah. So I watched that scene real close.
I'm above this. I see Steve. Well, you are a film connoisseur.
Yeah, absolutely.
But so we basically learned everything about the process, the procedure. There's a note in Tristan's profile about how he's got particularly high potential, even to take a high office, political office. The implication is that Tristan could become president.
He could be the one. He's the one.
He could be basically Dr. Caress's Manchurian candidate.
Right, for sure. Like, I feel like they could have condensed some of the story here. Like, if they would have been, like, let's say, I feel like in another movie, they would be, what do we got?
Sorry, I was just reading Historic Nerd. He wrote, sometimes plans are really complex and you need a refresher handy in presentation format.
It's true. It's very true.
I mean, I guess so. Like, if you're trying to sell this to, like, maybe a councilman that for whatever reason you don't want to, like, brainjack.
Right.
Because there's probably, like, you probably don't want everybody to have, like, these scars, right?
Sure.
Yeah. Look, I don't have time to go over all this.
Just watch this handy PowerPoint presentation.
Yeah.
Just watch this YouTube video. That's how it is now.
You're still on Windows 10, right? Because on Windows 11, it doesn't. Okay, good.
Right. So yeah, all right. As I was saying, I think in another movie, I feel like they could have condensed some of like the plot, basically. Like,
yeah,
it would have been a lot easier, and they could have had him show up a lot earlier. If like maybe they were about to be captured by some of the other cult members, and in pops Zane and some of his gang, and then they defeat the other bad guys and take Lainey and Tristan somewhere, and then they explain all the exposition to him that way. Instead of just accidentally, I just pressed a button, and then instant exposition. At least that's what I came up with.
I also thought her just knowing the code was
too
lazy.
easy. Yeah.
I mean, they could have like either like broken into the place,
right,
or been like, or she could have. Fuck, this is how I would have done it. I would have been like, since he's trying to convince her, right, or in the previous scene, like, hey, this guy's brainwashing, blah blah. Maybe like he triggers a memory of that she has of like, wait, I do remember that remote control. I remember him putting in a code into this room before, like he hit it. Something.
Right.
Where like she goes, maybe you are right. Why was he hiding this room from me?
Like I wonder, like, because up until now, the script, or at least the plot, was pretty tight. Like, I just wonder if there must have been some stuff going on behind the scenes where they just had to, like, wing
I think
it.
there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes, if you know what I'm saying. A lot of nudity. Not really a lot, but...
I mean, the other film that we were going to review was probably going to be way worse. But,
anyways, let's continue. So, Zane comes in, right? I think around this time.
Let's see. Hold on. All right. We discover...
They start to get chased by some of the other cult members.
We have to point out the fact that... all right, so after we've learned everything... The security guard comes back and shines a light on them.
Right.
Like, doesn't inflect, doesn't have any weapon or anything. And yeah, basically, did they push him down or they just run out? I can't remember.
I don't remember either because it's cut so awkwardly.
But I've got it here. The pacing slows to a crawl. The security guard threatens them with a flashlight, but Tristan stops it with a briefcase.
That's what it is.
Yeah, so...
Because she keeps the briefcase... while he calls 911 or somebody later on. Yeah.
So now they're on the run, and this is This ends up being pretty hilarious. They're basically trying to find people who will listen to them talk about, basically what they've discovered. I feel like the music. I'm kind of disappointed with the score overall with this film.
It was very hit or miss, I felt.
And
Sometimes it was cool.
And there wasn't enough. There also wasn't enough sort of like atmosphere when they were talking. It felt really empty. But in this scene particularly, when they're running through St. Pete and the music starts pumping, which, would normally be some, synthwave outrun or whatever. They tried to have that, but it really just feels like, FL Studio, not
Loops.
very produced very well, basic like industrial.
It was weird because I've never seen like a chasing slow make a movie feel like it slowed it down.
Yeah, it was very weird.
And I don't know if like the chase scene really went on long, but it felt like it went on too long.
Yes.
And eventually Zane jumps in and like basically saves them, and Zane looks, I don't know what his face looks like. It's like covered in dirt and like dried blood.
Yeah,
and
I don't get what they. I think that was as is. Yeah, the guy just. I just got done working in a meat packing factory and I didn't have time to shower, so
my job is head meat rub face in it. I don't know. That's not. I'm obviously being affected by the cycle. I'm getting brainjacked by this Cigar City Brewing Company highlight.
All right, so let's see what happens here. All right, this is.
Did you feel like from here on out? I felt like this last, because this is like the third act.
For sure.
But fuck, it felt so long.
Because I feel like they just crammed too much story into their film. Like it should have been condensed.
But I also feel like this movie could. Yeah, I feel like this movie could have been. The movie's not long. It's an hour and a half, including credits. So I feel like this movie could have been like an hour and 10 minutes.
Yeah, they could have shaved all right, this is basically this guy's first time feature, and like with first time filmmakers, pacing is usually like
the pace is all over the place.
All right, let's see what we got here. They're on the run.
So we have a comment. Sorry, I feel like the security guard unit is too strong because he said to protect and observe when we talked about flashlights. So I was like, well, it's a cult member. So the security guard unit is too strong to be influenced by a cult to be compromised. I think he meant solemn vow of doing nothing, but saying, hey, what are you kids doing here?
Yeah.
They swore a vow of doing nothing.
And the other funny thing was that it was like the smallest cult member they could find to be a security guy.
Yeah.
But anyway, they're on the run. They run all the way to the St. Pete Pier, which I thought was kind of cool.
Yeah, it was one of the few places I recognized, actually. Yeah.
And then the Fruity Loops music plays. The doctor activates Lainey. She tries to kill Tristan, but he knocks her out and uses the knife that he got earlier to dig out the chip from her head.
Tristan uses... So the doctor activates Lainey to kill Tristan.
Right.
And then Tristan uses the knife. Pronouns pal, as Vince McMahon would say. Tristan uses the knife to dig out the silicone pill thing out of her head, the implant.
And here's when another sort of thread gets thrown into the already kind of convoluted mess, where Tristan realizes that the Evan Graham they were talking about on the news is somehow a connection to the cult.
Oh my god, the guy on the news all the way back at the beginning of the film, right?
Yeah.
When he's at his parents' house.
But this leads up to a pretty hilarious scene when he goes to Evan's parents' house, and they look normal except for, and I even remember thinking this, and you tell me if you were thinking it too. Tristan's mom, she's got the hair
it's
like
not
mom.
Tristan's mom.
No, I'm sorry, Evan's mom. Sorry, the alcohol is getting to me too.
Before this, there's a scene where like, who does Tristan call from a payphone to get the address of Evan's parents?
Oh, that's so long! Oh my god!
The scene goes on forever. Have you know that movie Phone Booth with Colin Farrell? It's shorter than this fucking scene.
Oh man, he argues with this 911 operator.
He's like, yeah, Evan's in trouble. I need to
talk to his parents.
I need his parents' address. And the lady's like, that goes against our policy. I would assume there's no actual policy against giving out addresses. It's just a thing you don't do.
Right.
But if he just keeps saying, I need it. She's like, you can't have it, sir. I really need it. You need to calm down, sir. But I need it. And she's like, the address is.
Yeah, it was so... Yeah, again, like this...
I think they wanted to submit it to a film festival. and it needed to be X amount of minutes long.
Well, the way you do that, like, and this is an old like B-movie trick that I learned while reading Lloyd Kaufman's book on everything I learned about filmmaking. I learned from the Toxic Avenger is you make your credits longer. If your film is too short, you make the credits super long.
That's a good way to do it. But maybe some people at these film festivals have read Lloyd's book, and they're like, "Hey, your film needs to be this long before the fucking credits."
Whoa, Brainjacked.
Yeah, you better hope I don't get on any film committees, film festival committees.
No one would ever get one past old man Yahel.
No phone booth scenes either.
So I can't believe I left out that phone booth scene because it was ridiculous. But anyway, so he goes to Evan's parents' house, Tristan, and I forgot, is Lainey with him too at this point? I'm losing my place here.
Yeah, Lainey's with him because she's actually messing with the suitcase while he's on the phone.
Yeah,
with the 911
right.
operator.
So the mom
Lainey actually says when they get to the house, "Let me do the talking."
Right.
And I thought this was actually pretty funny. And he's like, "Why?" She goes, "Because you're a bit of an alarmist." And it's true. Every time Tristan talks to anybody for the first time, he jumps to like the worst possible scenario.
Right.
And thing. So your drink is back. You do still have some.
Yeah, I got you. But all right, so Evan's mom answers the door. She looks perfectly normal.
And by the way, Lainey does not look normal. She's got like blood.
Oh yeah,
down
I was gonna
from where,
mention
like,
that.
He dug out like the pill thing.
She lets them in, Evan's mom, no problem, despite the fact that Lainey is covered in blood and looks like a complete psycho.
Right. And at first I was like, what the fuck? Like, that makes no sense. But then it does make sense because so they tell him, "Hey, we think we know where your son is, Evan, blah, blah, blah. We don't know exactly where he is, blah, blah, blah." And then she does, I can use my hair. It's like this, right? And then she goes, "Oh, we've been looking for him." And she pulls her hair back, she reveals.
No, you have to deliver the line properly. Goes,
remember
really? We've been looking for that asshole.
Oh, yeah, she's like, "Really? We've been looking for that asshole."
Yeah, that's
And
like...
she turns around and her husband is like coming down the stairs with a... He's coming down first with a bat, but then later his shadow shows a machete. It was very confusing.
Yeah, I saw the machete too. Yeah, that's so weird. Yeah, that always cracks me up when it's like, oh, we really need to show that you're evil. So you really need to act evil, like, Saturday morning cartoon evil. Like, so, of course you have to move back your hair.
I thought it was a pretty good reveal, though.
Oh, it was great.
To be
I
honest,
loved it.
because I wasn't expecting it, actually.
It was just funny because we've been looking for that asshole or bitch or something. Just the line delivery cracked me up. All right, they go to the house and it turns out that Evan's parents are also being mind controlled. And then they show the little kid.
Yeah, they're like running away from the dad with the
machete slash baseball bat. Yeah.
They run into a room with a little kid. Mm-hmm. There's a bunch of like missing posters for Evan. Mm-hmm. But then the kid's like got like the whole thing.
And the kid tries to come after them. He acts like a little zombie and comes.
Yeah,
it was like
he's like yelling.
And that was like one of those scenes, like in addition to having a drill for a hand, that I was just like, oh, that's so hilarious. Like, but the whole film takes itself so seriously that it's like really out of kind of context.
Yeah.
But I'm sure the guy was like, oh man, I really want to have my kid in the film.
Yeah.
And then he shows up again later, if I'm not mistaken.
He does.
Tristan, all right, here we go.
They somehow escaped there, even though they went back out the same door that they went in. Why did they even go to this little room? Anyways.
Just so that we can see the kid, of course.
Yeah, well, I know, but like the kid could have been in the hallway.
And then they find a reporter, and Lainey gets in the car.
Like
this was
garage.
so bad. Like it completely lacks logic. The guy's just like,
I can help you.
Yeah, come in, get in the car. And then, of course, like, I mean, why would you separate? I don't really get, like, Tristan lets Lainey get in the car.
Has Zane not come in yet?
He comes
Because
in.
Zane comes into the picture when Tristan's by himself, and this is when they get separated.
Zane gets attacked by the chief of police, and in comes Zane to like.
So this is after this, because like Lainey and Tristan are separate.
Right. Yeah. Like, I mean, I wanted to finish the bit with the car bit.
No, you're right. You're right. I was getting confused.
It's okay.
The last like 30 minutes of this movie.
Oh yeah.
I feel are very confusing.
It is confusing, and I just think it's funny that Tristan just happens to be standing in front of the car, and then once you realize that the reporter guy is bad, he makes an evil face. And, and I think he even squeals or something. He guns the car to try to run over Tristan. Tristan moves out of the way, but then, as you said, he and Lainey are separated. And Tristan goes back home for some reason, and there happens to be a video playing. And again, this is all the reason why the third act is so bad is because it's just so illogical. Like, how could they know that he would come there to watch a video? Anyway, he comes back and there's a video playing of that shows him under the mind control of Dr. Karras killing his mom and stepdad. And then he comes out and the chief of police tries to arrest Tristan, but in comes Bane/Zane and kills the chief of police. And I believe, is this neck crack 1 of like 3,000? Because it basically becomes like a neck crack fiesta for the rest of the film. And I get it, like they didn't have a lot of time for choreography or something else, but still, you can only do like 1-2 neck cracks tops per feature film. And after that, it just gets boring.
Yeah. Well, what did you think though about like like you said, like when Tristan walked in, there's a video playing on the TV of him, and it just happens to be starting at just the perfect time. Video of him killing his I guess he had tied up his stepdad and his mom and bludgeons him with like a meat
cleaver or the
meat tenderizer.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Meat tenderizer hammer. And I thought that was a pretty well done scene.
It's a creepy scene. It's just
too convenient.
Yeah,
too
the lack of
logical.
logic leading up to it is what killed it.
And then he finds his actual parents,
right,
dead or whatever. Like so, and I guess they had. But I was
at least he didn't find his parents turned into sock puppets.
Oh my god! Wow, that's a deep cut. That would take too much to explain.
All right,
we should do that on Obscurity Now one day.
Absolutely,
we can actually show it.
Sure.
Anyways. That's a film that Steve did. That's actually one of my personal favorites. It's hilarious. But anyways, so was that supposed to be Dr. Karras? Why did Dr. Karras have him kill his parents? To control him, to have like blackmail?
That's the only thing that I came up with.
Like you need blackmail.
You've already got your little remote control.
Right. Unless he's just like, in case he
tries to do something. It's like, look what I made you do, and then I'm gonna tell the chief of police about it. I love how only the chief of police showed up. He couldn't get any other. He's the chief. You'd think he could get a few, uniformed officers to show up with him, but
I didn't mind that. So I mean, it is convenient, right? That my problem with the chief of police showing up is that he knew that he was there. Right. How did the police chief know that he's there?
Yeah,
it makes sense if he knew. For him to be the one that shows up, because I assume not the entire force is
right. I mean,
brainjacked.
They could have easily solved these logic problems with saying that, hey, we had you may have taken out the thing in your head, but we had another tracker like in your boot or in your shoe.
There's been one of our cult members following
the whole time. Yeah, that's all you need. Yeah, that's all you need. But I don't know. I feel like they rushed the third act or something. I don't know what was going on.
And it felt longer than the first half of the movie.
Yes, it did. And Zane says that all right, so after Zane comes and kills the chief of police with one of many neck cracks, he then tells Tristan that he killed Evan and he feels really bad about it because he couldn't save him. Then they go to some weird zombie place.
Yeah, what was that? Like a jail cell or something? But it's not a jail cell.
Yeah, I mean, again, they didn't explain it though. I was thinking like maybe it was people who got the trip done, but it had affected them negatively, and Zane rounded them up and figured out how to control them.
That's basically what it is.
Yeah.
But you have to like figure that out because like they have like a couple of the Trep scars, but they also have collars that seem to control them, and like Zane knows how to turn on the collars to get them to wake up.
That collar thing, they use that at Halloween Horror Nights like every year. I don't know if they came up with that. I'm pretty sure they ripped it off from there, but
then anyways, like, and Zane tells them Dr. Karras that way and points out the door or whatever.
Yeah,
and
Dr. Karras.
And then these people are like, it was like zombies, like.
Yeah,
so pretty lame.
Yeah, that's their posse that they round up to go get Dr. Karras. They then proceed to storm Dr. Karas's nice house, which I assume is in like Safety Harbor or something like that.
Historically pointed out a good comment, which makes a lot of sense. He said, I feel like this movie was originally going to be an FMV game on the 3DO. And it does kind of turn into...
It really feels like it.
You get some really strong corpse killer vibes towards the third act, I will say.
Yeah, I mean, with all the weird lighting, I mean, Sewer Shark, anyone?
Yeah. I just played Sewer Shark 2 weeks ago.
Congratulations. So yeah, they round up the zombies, and then I don't know. My notes get a little sparse here. I guess there's a lot of neck cracking going, and I have here. This is the longest strangulation in cinematic history.
Yeah. So Lainey starts to. Lainey's been taken in. She's gotten her third. Trep or whatever, and she's lying on a table, and the doctor comes down and he's like, oh, aren't you proud of me that I got her to survive the third trep or whatever? Anyways, he controls Lainey to kill Zane. She starts choking him, and then like Tristan like goes under the table that they're on top of, and like something falls, like one of the weapons. I gotta take this. Sorry, Steve. But yeah, one of the weapons falls, and I'm sure you can take it from there.
Yeah, so they're at the doc's house. Tristan strangles a guy, and in the close-up, you can see that... Oh, yeah, this was funny. Like, so he strangles one of the guards of the doctor's house, and they do a close-up of the guy's face, and he's breathing, and he's moving a blade of grass, which is pretty hilarious. I mean, other than that, I'd say the production is fairly competent of this movie. Tristan finds Lainey at the docks. Doc says he's too late. Lainey has had, as Yahel said, her third trep in her head. Lainey wakes up, and the doc uses her to fight Tristan. I think what I was trying to say before Yahel kind of jumped the gun there, due to the longest strangulation in cinematic history, is that when Zane and Tristan go to attack the doc's house, that other cult member girl, Heaven, is, for some reason, she's placed guard at the doc's house, I guess because the doc was having sex with her prior. So when he was done, he was like, oh, why don't you go ahead and guard the house? And then Zane comes up and strangles her to death, and it takes a really long time. I'm going to try my best not to talk through the riveting ending till Yahel comes back. There he is. So I think the strangulation I was referring to when I wrote about the longest strangulation in cinematic history is, remember they had Heaven stand guard at the doc's house because I guess he was done having sex with her.
Oh yeah,
yeah. And then I guess Zane comes and it takes a really long time to kill her. And I already talked about, so yeah, Tristan finds Lainey at the docks. Doc says it's too late. She's had her 3 trips. And just as Doc is about to kill Tristan, Zane comes back and saves him. Then Doctor turns Lainey on Zane. I mean, who didn't see that coming? Tristan, I also thought it was funny that they had one of those shock sticks. It reminded me of the Mountie.
Weapon.
Yeah. And Tristan shocks the doc with the shock stick, causing him to drop his remote. Tristan smashes it, freeing Lainey, and she uses her abilities to make the doctor drill himself to death, which was the only reason why he even had a drill hand to begin with, cinematically speaking, I guess.
Yeah. It was so he would kill himself.
Drill. So it seems like this, our filmmaker here, our tour, Aaron Allen, whatever his name was, Barry Allen? No, Andrew Allen. He had a few creepy scenes and then weaves, I guess,
a narrative around.
Yeah. So a decent 2 acts, and the third one was
Third act was
so let's try to figure out what those scenes were. Number 1, all right, we got to have a guy drill himself. Number 2, a dude has to come in to a video that shows him killing his own parents, which is creepy if you think about it.
Yeah.
What else needed to be in there?
The gangbang? No, I mean the other head drilling thing, obviously, and the eyeball thing.
Right.
The eyeball getting ripped out.
Yeah, you got to have that. But I mean, hey, there's been worse movies that have used that,
Yeah.
style of writing, I would say.
But yeah, like, and then Zane's like yelling at Lainey, like, "Hey, now that you've got the third trip, you have the telepathic power. You can fight him." So basically, there's no reason really for the Doctor to do the third trip on anybody because it gives them the ability to fight him off.
Yeah, apparently.
So I mean, why would? There's no benefit to the Doctor to do it. Maybe like
he should have learned that from Zane,
Right.
but I guess he thought maybe there was a way to control people
they
down
should
the
have
line.
established at some point that the Doctor was such a megalomaniac or something that he was sure he could do something different with the third trip now. Something like that.
Yes.
Because otherwise it makes no sense.
Right.
And then Lainey does like this weird scream, like she's Havoc.
Nice X-Men reference.
That's what makes Dr. Karras drill himself. But as they're trying to escape,
Oh yeah, here we
and
go.
maybe you can help me out here. Something somehow gets activated in the compound, but nobody activates it,
A
right?
fail-safe. I mean, again, I guess you could assume that upon the Doctor's death or self-drilling, that a fail-safe is then activated that makes it so everyone inside the house gets blown up.
Yeah. So basically, first thing that happens is the house goes on lockdown, as we see on the computer screen.
Yep.
Then the next thing that happens is Lainey falls to the floor, and she's like...
But you're missing out one interesting thing here. She rips out the heart of Zane.
No, that's what I was just about to get to. Because
okay.
then it says, like, destroy the renegade whatever.
Right.
And that's when she rips his heart out.
Did you say renegade?
I wish Lorenzo Lamas was in this. So yeah, and Tristan's like, "Oh, what's going on? Oh no!"
Right.
And I guess Tristan's outside though,
Yeah,
right?
Tristan, he is outside
So
when the
door's
house goes into
locked.
lockdown.
Lock them in.
So
Like,
he
everyone-
watches as she rips out the heart of Zane, and then for some reason her face melts.
Well, the computer then says self-destruct, and her face melts off her skull.
So I guess we can assume, all right, despite the fact that because they removed the thing in her head, right? So I guess since she's been triple trepped.
Right, so you can assume that he put back the missing one.
Okay, that's what I originally thought. And kind of a downer ending. Did you stay till after the credits? There was a post-credit scene.
No.
I don't even really remember what it was. They show the kid again at the end.
Oh, I was hoping one of the Avengers.
Hawkeye shows up and
Yeah.
saves the day. And yeah,
right.
Yeah,
Hawkeye's not even going to save the day in his own series on Disney Plus.
he's going to be replaced by a woman, and she's going to do it.
Honestly, though, chances are she'd be a better actor than Jeremy Renner.
You don't like him?
I don't
he's
like
pretty,
him as Hawkeye. He's phoning it in.
he's pretty
Hawkeye.
understated. I don't know. He's
He's one of those actors where you can tell when he's not into it.
I'm sure he was into the paycheck though. But yeah, like basically for the rest here, I just have my notes. I said like, looks like a lot of heart went into this. But I mean, we've already mentioned a lot of this stuff. Biggest problem was pacing. And due to the fact that they had a man with a drill for a hand and a little kid act like a little zombie, I feel like they had tone issues sometimes. Performances were straightforward. But I mean, let's just jump right to it. Let me do
let's
the
see. Keep it or not.
let me
Remember, that's the question.
All right. So, Yahel Velazquez, do you think that the movie known as Brainjacked should be remembered for all of mankind or tossed into the black pit of obscurity, never to be heard from again?
I'm going to say, because of the third act, forgotten.
Oh, that's rough. I don't know. All right. Do you have anything else to add?
No. Just...
I think it needs to be remembered. I think there's stuff in here worth seeing. As I said, I love the lighting and the cinematography. They had pretty decent like editing and camera work. Obviously, the acting from a lot of the people left a lot to be desired. I don't know why they rushed the third act so bad. Like maybe they were running out of money.
They rushed it, yeah. It felt so long to me.
Yeah,
like,
it was so weird.
I don't know.
Also, I mean, not having a. I mean, I don't know why they didn't go for a happier ending. Like, I mean, I didn't expect them to like skip off into a rainbow or something. But
It's a weird ending.
yeah, I guess they really wanted to have a sequel because the scene after the credits set it up for another movie, basically. But obviously that didn't happen. But like, if I met another person who was into, this level of like horror movies, I'd be like, oh man, you got to check out Brainjacked. Like, until this point,
Yeah,
and then you can stop.
If I didn't have to watch it for this podcast, I would have turned it off once a few minutes into the third act. Like it was.
I thought it was
bad for me.
laughable, at least in an entertaining way.
I got like so bored.
Aw, yeah. I mean, I can feel that. Well, we'll have to say stalemate for this one. But I just wondered if anyone, if anyone knows what happened to Andrew Allen. Is that what I said his name was? Yeah, Andrew Allen, the director / co-writer of this film. Leave it in the comments because
I didn't know it was his first film though. I mean, for a first film, pretty good job.
yeah, according to the IMDb, he'd only worked on like a short film prior, and then after this, like, he worked as, I don't know, line producer or something on some of those other horror films that I mentioned around Florida or something. But yeah, wow. Well, everyone, that was Brainjacked. Thank you for joining us on this very special in real life filmed in Yahel's, do you call it a man cave or?
This is my office. I work in here.
It's his man cave, everyone.
It's not my man
It's the Yahel cave.
It's my garden.
Yeah. Anyway, join us next week where we will be discussing the Garfield Halloween special, which used to be called Garfield in Disguise. Anything else you want to add there, Yahel?
No, I'm good. Thanks for hanging out, everybody in the chat. I see Smoke Monster was here as well. Really appreciate it. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see you next time on Obscurity Now.
You've been enjoying Obscurity Now, a podcast that's recorded live to tape and streamed to Twitch and YouTube. Subscribe so you never miss an episode or hilarious quip. Take us with you by following the download links provided in the show notes to wherever you get podcasts. And take notice of our various social media links. If that's what you're into, I'm not here to judge. And make sure you join us live next week at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific as we continue to discuss more obscure media only on Obscurity Now.